Hello, friends. This is Spencer Love, your host of Over the Top Rope on the Win Column Sports Network. Don't forget you can head to wincolumnsports.ca for all of your previews, reviews, and breaking news from the world of wrestling, be it your major promotions or from the great province of Alberta, Canada.
This is your main man RJ from the Ringside Rant, heard only on the Visionaries Wrestling Network. So go over and subscribe across all your major platforms, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher to hear every great interview I have every Monday on the Visionaries Wrestling Network. Go over and follow the show's page on Twitter @_Ringside Rant. Follow the network's page @BizWrestleNet. And, as always, embrace the vision.
If you like podcasts and you are listening to on Backbreaker Media, then you should listen to me, Chris Parrish,
and myself, Maniah,
and the Sounds of Struggle, because we are literally the most entertaining duo you'll ever come across in Western Canadian wrestling, baby.
We talk about things like wrestling
and other sports we like.
Wrestling.
But we won't talk about other sports that we don't like, because it's not that kind of podcast.
Like wrestling.
I mean, we like hockey.
And wrestling.
And we like football.
And wrestling.
And we also like to drink beer.
While wrestling.
Well, not while wrestling, but while watching wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah. If you want to get into a conversation with Maniac and Chris Parrish, then you need to tune into the Sounds of Struggle live on Backbreaker Media.
Every Thursday.
That's when we hope to drop, but sometimes Mike Malawany doesn't do his job right.
Or we're too drunk to forget.
Yeah, that happens too.
Yeah.
He can bleep out the swear word, because we weren't supposed to do that.
Oh,
but
I'll try not to swear. I can't do it.
Yeah. Let's face it, the two of us, we're real.
And spectacular.
And we're a little bit of all right.
Yeah.
Well, so Strugglicious.
That we are.
That was kind of the key. We're supposed to do Strugglicious.
Oh, sorry, I'm drunk.
Yeah. So, if you don't want to listen to us, then no. You're stupid, because we're entertaining. And if you want to listen to us, then, come listen to us on Backbreaker Media.
Yeah.
Later,
he said.
Later, bitches.
Welcome to the Double Down Wrestling Podcast. I'm KJ, and today we have a really special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
What's going on, everyone? My name is Mike. I've known KJ for
like 7 years.
6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
Big supporter of her work, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, you are like one of my best friends, and not to be confused with Mike the Ref, but his name is Mike.
I'll be Little Mike.
Two different. Yeah, okay, you can be Little Mike. So I brought you on because we actually watched Evolution together this week.
Great show.
I figured it would be great to have you, considering the two other boys ditched me this week, and they were unable to make time for little old me.
Well, their loss is my gain.
Exactly. So anyways, like I said, before we get to talking about Evolution first, we were just talking about the PWI 50 that came out, and everybody's like driving themselves crazy over the fact that Ronda Rousey is #1 this year, and she's been in the business less than a year. So what's your overall thoughts?
Well, it's just a popularity contest, right? It has nothing to do with work rate, has nothing to do with record. It has to do, these are all write-in polls, right? These are write-in votes. All it takes is for a small group that wants to piss people off or mess with the vote, because I'm sure it's not the true fans voting on that.
Well, and it's kind of funny when I saw it literally this morning on Twitter. I immediately was like, okay, I need to shut the app off for a sec because I was a little outraged. Yeah, she's brought a lot of mainstream attention, but at the same time, I feel like it can almost be I said slap in the face earlier, but I don't want to say slap in the face because she's put on some okay matches. But it's just like you taking into consideration the fact that this is over the last year, and she hasn't even been in WWE for a year.
Right.
She's had, like 20 matches, if that. For her to be number one over somebody, and I don't even really know, I still probably would have put Charlotte as number one. Or at least top 5 still. I know, what a shocker. That she would be up there. But the girl has had a great year. I still would have put Asuka up there, even though she lost her streak. She won the Royal Rumble. She was undefeated up until then. Even then, like, talent, like Alexa. She's been in the title picture for the last year. She's put on okay matches.
But see, that just goes...
Just stuff like that, right?
But Alexa just goes right back into the Rousey argument of the most exposed talent or workers are the ones who are being voted on.
Yeah.
It's not about work rate because you can't really put Alexa in that unless it's, bump rate or sell rate. Alexa can sell, but she can't work. As well as some of the other talent. But I doubt that list is going around the locker room. I'm sure Rousey isn't pulling that out of her bag and lacing up her boots and showing everyone, look, I'm number one.
Look at me, I'm on the cover.
Yeah, I think I think it's great exposure for indie talent if they get recognized on that, because it shows that, the hard work that they're putting in, any of the self-promotion that they're doing, or the promotions that they work for promoting them. But I doubt the people who are cashing their, $500,000 paychecks are worrying about these write-in online polls.
Well, and that's the thing, like, I look at two of the, like, Mike the Ref actually texted me about this earlier, and he was, they were arguing the fact, I think Sasha's, like, number, 15 or something like that. I don't have the list in front of me, so I'm not going to look it up, but her and Bayley were ahead of somebody that's Tessa Blanchard. And it's like, yeah, Sasha and Bayley, even though they have not had a title shot in over a year, either of them, I don't really count Elimination Chamber, but besides that, they haven't had a title shot, but they're still rated very high. I knew that they would be super low on the list, whereas them and Charlotte have topped the list the last 3 years, basically. So you look at something like that, and then look at what the list is this year, and I'm like, ooh, it really, has no legitimacy in my mind. It didn't really to begin with, but, like you said something about Alexa's work rate. The girl shows up every weekend to house shows, every week.
Oh, no
you know
one's
what
doubting her commitment.
Oh, yeah.
But, when she steps in...
How well she can put on a wrestling match.
Is she calling moves in the ring? Is she that good on psychology inside the ring? Or is she more about exposure?
True. Lots to be argued about. But that's my opinion. I wasn't overall happy, but whatever.
I think you have to take whatever the dirt sheets say about women's wrestling with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because the last time women's wrestlers were mentioned in the dirt sheets was Dave Meltzer calling Peyton Royce fat.
Oh, God. Jesus.
So, yeah. Whatever the...
Man, did he get shit on.
Whatever the dirt sheets have to say about women's wrestling is probably not something that matters.
All right. Moving on. Okay, so like I said earlier, we watched Evolution together. So that's why you're here today. So I have some notes that I actually want to say about Evolution, the overall show, the overall package of Evolution. So I had some positives, obviously a few negatives, but not a whole lot. So I said three of the positives. So the first one is the match length. Every single match went over 10 minutes. There were no quick matches. So I really, really like that because I went and looked at the timesheet the other day. And I think, the shortest match was the the Mae Young Classic. And I think it was 10 minutes and 40 seconds or something. So that was the shortest match. And in my opinion, that's a far cry from when the women were getting 2 minutes on TV maybe, less than 4 years ago?
Right.
And the shortest match on an all-women's pay-per-view was 10 minutes and 38 seconds or something like that. So
right.
I just thought that was incredible. I had to note it. It was fabulous. And then I thought the quality was really great for every single match. It was balanced out. I don't feel like there was a bad match like, you could argue that the Trish Lita match was, like, okay, but I feel like the ref, we'll get to it, but that ref spot where he didn't count the 3 when it was a very, very clear 3 really took away from the attention of the match.
But you could also argue with Alicia being...
extremely late to break up the count.
Well, that was on her, but she was also added to that match really late.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So she didn't have... It's possible she didn't have all of her spots down. The botch was on the ref. That match was what it was supposed to be, though. It was supposed to be a feel-good nostalgia match.
Definitely.
It wasn't supposed to be a 5-star classic.
No.
You
still walked away happy.
It was a
Trish Lita
fantastic
won.
match. It's just, thank goodness there was Mickie James in the match.
Definitely.
To keep things chugging along the way they were supposed to.
Okay, and then my third thing was that I feel like every single person on that show had their moment to shine. Every single person, like even Alicia Fox, the one where everybody rolls their eyes when I love her. She's so funny. I think she's
Alicia
hilarious.
Fox.
Even Alicia Fox got to shine. So like you watch her interview after the show, and you see her crying, and I even cried because she was crying because that was the biggest spot basically that she's gotten since her start, and she's been with the company for like 11 years. Crazy to think, right?
I don't think any of the girls just phone in their matches ever. I don't think they're ever just walking through.
Oh, no.
But definitely this was their chance to shine.
Yes.
I think the proverbial reaching for the brass ring, I think this was all of their moments to do that.
It was, I feel like that's the biggest positive is that everybody, like, I was just very happy, and I was looking at it, someone rated this whole pay-per-view, and it had the highest rated matches of any WWE pay-per-view up until this point for 2018.
It was so good of a match, it's already going to be the best match of 2019 as well.
Yeah, Becky and Charlotte. We'll get to that later. Or actually, we could just talk about it now. I just saw the rating, and they are now officially the highest rated WWE women's match of all time at 4.75.
Really? Is that a Meltzer's rating?
I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I saw it. I think it was from him. Well, it usually is from him. So it's like another thing. Take it with a grain of salt. But in my opinion, they deserved it. I probably wouldn't have given them a 5 just because of some of the, moments. It wasn't perfect, but it was great. The previous highest rated was the obvious of Sasha Bailey, and then I think also Ember Asuka was also the highest rated. So
now,
they were tied.
I've seen Meltzer give Kenny Omega 5-star ratings.
Yeah.
And in his 5-star ratings, he says, it was 5-star ratings even though this happened and there was this botch.
Yeah.
Who cares if a match isn't perfect? The psychology was perfect.
Yeah.
The high spots were perfect. The flow of the match was perfect. The only thing that I didn't like about it was Becky taking her belt and walking away. I thought that was a stupid spot for what the fans are asking her to be. Was a stupid thing to throw into the match. But I don't think it disrupted the flow. It kept going with the story. If that's not 5-star, what is?
Well, especially that, everybody's just like, what's going to be the 5-star? And in my honest opinion, and my 4 horsewoman bias is screaming out loud as I say this, but those girls will be the first 5-star women's match in WWE. I'm putting it right now.
What
The
what's
4-way.
the
Sorry, the 4-way. It's going to be Sasha, Bailey, Becky, Charlotte, Fatal 4-way. I don't know if it'll be at a Mania. It better be at a Mania. But when they finally pull the trigger and they do that match, I guarantee it'll be at least one of the highest rated, if not the highest rated.
I thought you meant the 4 horsewomen
no.
versus
That
the
ain't
MMA 4
That ain't going to be 5-star.
I'm thinking, no,
that ain't going to be 5-star.
Set your bar a little lower for that match.
That ain't going to be 5-star. But in all honesty, you got those 4 girls on that one side. That 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen can probably still pull out 4 point something.
Yeah, the potential is there. I'm not a big fan of 4-way matches because it's hard to really get into the psychology and sell properly. It's almost like people have to take their turns, and it's like the lethal ref bump the ref gets bumped into and he's down for 40, 50 seconds while all these shenanigans happen. Sasha or Bailey or someone is going to have to take a bump and lay outside the ring for 5 minutes and then come back like a ball of fire. I don't really like four corners matches or four-way dances for that.
Did you watch their NXT Fatal 4-Way they had?
No.
You never did? Okay,
No.
You'll have to watch it. I made you watch Sasha Bailey Brooklyn for the first time before Evolution, and you loved it.
I almost cried.
Yeah, it was fabulous. I told him, I was like, we're watching this. I don't care. So we missed half of the pre-show because I made you watch it. But
well worth it,
next
though.
time you're going to watch the Fatal 4-Way, and that's when Sasha wins the NXT Women's title for the first time. Well, she only won it once. But that's a great match.
Well, hopefully Triple H is doing the booking for your dream match then.
He better.
Hopefully
Can I
he's
put it in the
agenting
works
that
right
match.
now? Anywho, so we got super sidetracked. I put as my biggest negative, or well, I had two negatives, but the obvious is Charlotte and Becky not main eventing. But then when the show finished, I really was like, hey, I see why they didn't main event. They wanted a smiling Ronda Rousey to walk back up the aisle to the rest of the locker room, standing there smiling and clapping, and yay, look at us. I get it. They
As opposed to them taking Charlotte up on a stretcher after taking her Mick Foley bump.
Charlotte's, that's the thing, you were like, oh, Charlotte's standing there perfectly fine, like what the, like, come on. But I still would have liked to see Becky, because Becky was out there. They showed her and Ronda standing in the middle with their titles at the end, so I'm like, why couldn't Charlotte and Becky have main evented, and they still could have done that? But I get it. Charlotte was dead to the world. They wanted Charlotte to be part of it.
Yeah.
But they were the main event.
Absolutely.
This is going to be a perfect example of how NXT Brooklyn ended, where Sasha Bailey had their match, and then Finn and Kevin Owens had their match. Nobody remembers Finn and Kevin Owens. They only remember this. This is going to be the same thing. No offense, Ronda and Nikki, no one's going to remember your match. So, there you go.
It's like WrestleMania 3 as well. Hogan and Andre, I mean, nobody was expecting them to put on a barn burner. But nobody really remembers that match because they followed Savage and Steamboat.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's not the worst thing to not main event.
Well, and that's the thing. Nobody expected Becky and Charlotte not to steal the show. Everybody predicted it. And they did. So my other negative is the reffing choices. And I know that, when you think about it that way, if the ref did count to a 10 when Charlotte didn't get up for that 10, the match would have been over, unfortunately. But at the same time, that's Charlotte's fault for not getting up by 10.
Right.
The ref wasn't counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
He was, so things like that really distract you from the match. And then the obvious one of Trish and Lita's match.
Yeah.
But that was really the only negative, and I think that's great when you think about a whole pay-per-view, and those are the only two negatives. And I feel like it's nitpicking at this point, but really those were my only negatives. Everything else was a positive.
Yeah, to me, the only negatives were that one spot with Becky trying to take her title and leave. I don't think it did anything for anyone in that match. And realistically, my kind of joint negative was their build for this show. I think they did a piss poor job of really promoting it. Everyone knew it was happening. They've been talking about it for months. But it's been completely in the shadow of Crown Jewel to the point where during the first ever all-women's pay-per-view here on WWE Network, they still had to plug Crown Jewel.
Boo.
But that's just indicative of how they viewed the two shows.
Yeah.
That Evolution was, to them, lesser than Crown Jewel, and to the point where now they're promoting a no women's allowed show at an all women's pay-per-view. To me, that was, I don't want to say it left a sour taste in my mouth, but it was a sour moment for sure.
Well, and that's what I thought. I was like, is this a consolation prize? And I feel like now that the show's over, hell no. They're like, we're taking your damn consolation prize and we're making it this. And I'll be honest, I won't be watching Crown Jewel.
No.
I don't want to support that. I don't agree with it. I get that you have to uphold a contract, and that's whatever. The show's still going to happen whether I like it or not. But the show of the week is definitely going to be Evolution. There's hands down.
I think part of what made that the underdog show was how many of these girls worked NXT takeovers.
Yes.
And I haven't seen a lot of matches from takeovers, but it looked to me always that their mindset was, we're going to upstage tomorrow's main roster show.
Oh, yeah.
You're putting on SummerSlam tomorrow? Awesome. We are going to steal the show. And I think a lot of these girls came into Evolution with the mentality of, just like we stole the show with NXT, we're going to steal the show with Evolution, and nobody's going to remember Crown Jewel.
Well, it's funny that you bring up NXT TakeOver, because I was listening to like other podcasts this morning and reading some stuff. Is that the production crew that does NXT/NXT takeovers actually produced Evolution, and that's why it looked a lot different.
It showed.
Looked like everybody kept saying, "Oh, it looked like a higher budgeted house show."
Bullshit.
And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I think it made it look better.
It absolutely
It made it look so
better.
much better. Like, it made it look like a wrestling show and not some big, like, look at us thing. Even though it kind of was, but it looked like at the end of the day, I didn't give a shit that they didn't have an LED ring skirt. I didn't give a shit. I gave a shit in the fact that Ember Moon showed out in the Battle Royal, etc., etc. Like, that's what I remember. You don't need this. And I thought it was curious when I saw that. I was like, this is great.
That's what WWE is right now.
Yeah.
It's all flash and no dash. We have LED ring skirts. We have LED ring posts and these amazing LED screens, because what we're putting in the ring is the drizzling shits. The girls didn't need any of that, because what they put on in the ring was not only watchable, it was captivating. It was edge of your seat matches and spots.
Yeah. And I didn't feel exhausted at the end. Like, I really didn't. Even though I was kind of like, oh, it's only 3.5 hours. I was kind of bummed at the end, but then I feel like if it was like 7 hours, I'd be like, ugh.
No,
like, I'm tired now, you know? Like, I'm glad, because just like a takeover, it's a few hours, and they give them enough time that they put on something special. This was like a takeover feel, and I loved it. It was great. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. So we'll start.
Everything was booked perfectly. That there was no, other than the Becky Charlotte match, there was no, like, I'm emotionally spent for this next match, I'm not into it.
Yeah.
You were into every match.
But even after Charlotte Becky, I was not, like, emotionally spent.
No,
I was
still
relieved. I was happy. I was super relieved.
I was chanting holy shit in my inner monologue for the next 10 minutes. But that's what helps you not feel like, oh my god, the show's going on forever. Every match built on the momentum of the last one.
Yeah.
And when it was over, you were just thinking that was a damn good show.
Well, it's like, do you remember at the beginning of the show when I predicted the lineup?
You nailed
I was
it.
100% right, and I didn't, like, spoil myself. I, like, did write it. But just in my mind, it made sense. However, I did predict Battle Royal to... Did I predict Battle Royal to start? Or did I say Trish Lita?
You said Trish Lita.
Okay, so besides... Yeah, I was, I guess, 100% correct.
Yep.
Just in regards to momentum and what each match meant, I felt like that was appropriate, and they did a great job booking it that way.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll start with it then. So the first match was Trish and Lita. Mm-hmm. They defeated Mickey and Alicia with Alexa Bliss in their corner. So really, I feel like this match could have been a lot bigger than what it was, but the fact that this match changed like 2 or 3 times before it actually took place, I don't want to say it ruined it, because that's not the correct word, but I think it just, because it wasn't a static match, and they kept building up Alexa in this match, and they said, hey, by the way, you're not wrestling, Alicia's wrestling. The match probably would have still ended the same, but I feel like if Alexa was in it, I probably would have been a little bit more invested. So,
well, I think it was what it needed to be. Trish and Lita, they showed their ring rust for sure. Lita didn't look good in her spots.
She looked a little slow.
She's like sluggish.
But, yeah.
I'm not shitting on her work rate or anything, but the match was what it needed to be. It didn't need to be hyped anymore, because I think it would have ended up being a letdown.
Yeah.
I'm on the other side of the fence, though, that I think that if Alexa was in the match, that Alexa and Mickey would have gone over. I think that there was no point in Trish and Lita winning because they really don't gain anything from it. They go back to whatever endeavors they're doing in their personal lives, and the match doesn't mean anything for their careers. But it would be a big torch-passing moment for Alexa, and she was
Yes.
out of those 5 girls. She's obviously the youngest and the greenest. So for them to put her over, I think that would have happened if she was in the match. But that's just fantasy booking.
Well, and someone told me that Trish and Lita actually have like a Brock Lesnar-esque type contract right now, where they have like a certain amount of shows they can be at, or they will be at, basically up until Mania. And I said, okay. And then I was reading a article on the fact that they're going to be... So Trish and Lita will probably disappear until Royal Rumble-ish again. Or maybe they'll come back, who knows. But I'm sure they're going to be in the Royal Rumble again. But everybody keeps saying that they're building Trish and Lita as a team now. Because they want to do something with them and Sasha Bailey.
Okay.
And I said, okay.
I would like that.
That was... Okay, so listen to this. This was what I was originally bummed because both of them individually said they wanted a match with them for the last few months, and then it got announced, okay, no, it's not happening. Alexa's going to face Trish, Mickey's going to face Lita. And everybody was like, seriously? Like, neither of them vocalized they wanted these matches, and like, I get that it's like my Sasha bias coming out, but it's like, I would have really liked that. I think it would have been great, but at the same time, I can see if they're going to go this direction, with the Trish Lita thing, I think it would be great, especially because they're going to bring in these weird tag titles eventually, one day, somehow. Even if they don't really need it. If it's going to be Trish Lita versus Sasha Bailey, I feel like titles would be more of an incentive, because then you would have 2 baby faces that are hyped, like 2 babyface teams, hyped. You have titles to win. Like, we're going to challenge you guys. We're going to do this. I think that would be great. Okay, yeah. So you just asked me. Okay, and this is, I guess we can keep talking about it. So on Raw, they actually had the 10-woman tag.
Oh,
so
okay.
it was Natty, Sasha Bailey, Trish, and Lita versus Riot Squad and Mickey and Alicia.
Right.
And I feel like everybody kept saying, like on Twitter, I was like, this is the most random match. Like, why did they have Trish Lita here? Because they're not going to be on Raw for a little while, I would presume.
But if they are.
If they show up next week, then I would be a little shocked. But everybody kept saying that this was a consolation prize for not giving Sasha Bailey the matches they wanted, / the matches Trish and Lita actually wanted. Because Trish actually said in an interview that she actually asked for a different match. But she got Alexa, which is totally fine. I think I would have been intrigued to see it anyways, but it obviously didn't happen. But this match happened almost as a consolation prize to say, hey. Because you look at... Did you watch the match? Like, the match on Raw?
Yes.
Okay, so what did you notice in that match? Who got spots with who?
Right. Yeah.
I'll be honest, the heels got absolutely nothing in that match. It was mostly the faces. Most importantly, who? Sasha and Trish.
Yeah, and...
Bailey and Lita, and then Natty got the W. Sorry, I just hit something. Natty got the W. It was really like a nostalgia feel again.
Right.
But it very much intrigues me because of these reports where I'm like, I absolutely wouldn't hate it. Wouldn't hate it at all. But I feel like the first time ever to win these tag titles, I don't think it should be decided in a match against 2 current people versus legends.
Right.
I think it needs to be Sasha Bailey versus a team from SmackDown or NXT or something. I don't think it should be like... It needs to be even.
See, but I don't blame them for not booking that match at Evolution, because you wouldn't want a face versus face match.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the crowd would like it, but I just don't think that you could do that booking.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, say, for example, if they
The crowd has to boo someone.
Well, that's the thing. If they went with Trish Sasha and they went Lita Bailey, I could easily see Trish putting Sasha over But then would it be too predictable for Lita to put Bayley over as well? Probably a little bit. So I can see like where we're coming from because everybody wanted to see it. I would have much rather seen a tag match between the four of them if they would have gone that route. But if they're going to go this route now, I'm not angry.
Yeah.
I'm not angry at all about it. I'm kind of excited if they ever do it. I mean, as much as I'd love to see in my mind my dream magical Candyland, I would love to see Sasha Becky at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Women's title. Someone put that in my brain space the other day, and that's all I can think about is that. So, there we go. Or Becky Asuka, but that has nothing to do with Sasha right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for the women's division, the most important thing that they could do right now, the most exciting thing would be to add the tag titles. Yeah. And I think that would give Trish and Lita a purpose for coming back for a run.
Especially if they're going to do something at Mania.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, well, they already did... Like, maybe when they come back, Trish finally gets her match with Alexa. Who knows? Like, I'm sure they're going to do it because Alexa never got the match to begin with because of an unfortunate incident with Ronda, apparently, at that house show.
Wow, with the number one
there you go.
female worker in the company.
Boom,
on
there we
Earth,
go.
apparently.
Yeah, in the whole world. But yeah, so I think it'll still happen. We'll see. But anywho, the titles need to be floating. That's all I got to say.
Agreed.
Okay, the Battle Royal. Before we talk about, we'll just say Nia won it. Spoiler alert, not really. What was your favorite takeaway of the match?
Oh, man. I enjoyed,
yeah,
from beginning to end, everything about the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
I loved the iconic spot, which...
Oh, my God.
I mean, it disappointed me because I would have liked to have seen one of them
being there
win,
for less than 10
but
seconds.
It was perfect.
Yep.
The moments that some of the girls had, going face to face, get that moment. The little tribute to Roman Reigns from the family members. I don't know if I could pick one favorite moment, but I would have to say, and it's really too bad the announcers didn't put it over.
Yeah.
When Asuka and Ember Moon...
They did, though. They said, like, NXT rivalry, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Or should they have put it over more, is what you're saying.
Well, what they should have put over was the fact that Ember Moon, she never beat Asuka in NXT, but she eliminated her from the Royal Rumble. Or from the, Royal Rumble.
Battle Royal,
thank you.
I wouldn't mind seeing her do that at the Royal Rumble,
but she eliminated her. They didn't say anything about that. I felt like they could have put that over, saying, longtime foes in NXT never beat her, but eliminated her from the Battle Royal here.
Yeah.
Like, they could have put that over, but,
Just
I mean,
little
it's
bit
Michael
more.
Cole, so what do you expect?
The guy's great.
Terrible.
Yeah, the Iconics.
What was your favorite moment?
I'll be honest. As soon as the Iconics walked out and they started cutting that promo, I'm like, they're getting eliminated right away.
You called it, too.
Yeah, I was like, as soon as they let them have their moment, which in my mind stole the beginning part of the Battle Royal, like, it was great. It was hilarious. I love them. So I'm glad that they did that because, we'll be honest, even though as much as I wanted one of them to win, they probably weren't going to win. I would have much rather seen this because even for a minute, it put a spotlight just on them. And it put over what they're really great at right now is their smack talk. Yeah. They're great. My highlight was finally on the main roster seeing Ember Moon get a spotlight.
Right.
She hasn't had a chance to shine. I picked her in my prediction last week to win the whole thing. And in my opinion, even though she didn't win it, she did.
She stole it.
She stole the show.
Yeah.
She was great. She was all over the place. I thought it was great. I get why Nia won. I'm not angry about it, but at the same time, I'm like, why?
I think she won for the feel-good moment. I think that's all it was.
I feel like it would have,
It wasn't for the push. It wasn't for the title. It was, unfortunate what's happening in her family, and I think that's why she won it, was for that. But I don't know. from beginning to end, it was just pure entertainment.
I usually hate battle royals. Like, I hate them so much because they're always so textbook. This didn't feel textbook to me. Like, it felt like a legitimate match with, like, madness around. Like, just absolute madness.
Except anything that Alundra Blaze was doing. Everything she did, it looked like she was in slow motion. And
that's actually so true.
The worst part is she was at the front of the hard cam. So she wasn't, like, buried in one of the far corners. She was right up by those front ropes.
She knew what she was doing.
Everything that she was doing so slowly, it kind of looked like she was wearing a diaper in that, like, that terrible outfit, like that 1980s outfit she was wearing. That was the only downside to me, is that she wasn't stealing focus. It's just she was so bad, and she was right front and center doing it.
Who eliminated her?
Father Time, I think.
Jesus. But I even remember when she did get eliminated, though, that she, like, didn't, but then she just kind of, like, jumped down and eliminated herself halfway, and I'm like, wait, what just happened?
No, it was,
I love her,
it was
don't get me
past her
wrong,
bedtime.
But yeah, like, I just don't know if that would have been the right fit. I thought it was really interesting that everybody got an entrance.
Yeah,
you never
that
see
was good.
You never see that in a battle royal.
Yeah.
Unless it's like Royal Rumble, and they didn't do it Royal Rumble style. It was battle royal, and usually you'll, like, cut to a little commercial and everybody's standing in the ring after. I'm glad that they did this. They did it very quick. They gave, I think, each of them 12, 13 seconds, except for the Iconics,
just a quick
of course.
Intro.
Played their music. Okay, next person. It was quick. It was fast. Everybody got one. I didn't hate it. I think it was great.
No, I liked it.
What else? I was happy that it was a long battle royal as well. Like I said before, no match was under 10 minutes. I think this match, the runtime was just shy of 17.
Okay.
It was like 16 something. So it was not quick. It was like, it probably could have been a little bit.
See, I love battle royals and Royal Rumbles, though. I grew up when they first introduced the Royal Rumble concept, so I've always loved them. I love when they can get those little spots in, like Carmella dancing with Ivory.
Oh, it was so good.
You know, I love those little moments, and it doesn't have to be a whole match of it. It's just these quick little rapid fire segments, and it suited what the entire pay-per-view was.
Showcase,
and it was just from bell to bell. It was fun, it was entertaining, and it was fast-moving.
It was, I really did like it. I really like also that they gave Tamina, actually, like, it probably was because of Roman, I'm sorry, but I loved that they gave her a spotlight, and not just for 5 seconds, but, like, for a good majority of the match, because she was the final 3, I believe. Yeah. She was in there, like, they were showing her as an actual threat.
Right.
For the first time in forever. They've always, like, overhyped her strength and, like, whatever, and the fact that she's Jimmy Snuka's daughter or whatever. Like, I get it. But this is the first time that they've actually given her a platform to show that she can wrestle, because, I'm sorry, she actually can wrestle. And I don't know why I just apologized, but she can. She can wrestle, and people don't think she can, but she can.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I'm glad. Because it's long overdue. She's been around for, like, freaking 10 years almost.
Right.
Give her some platform finally.
And it's funny because it's kind of like she's the other version of Nia Jax. She's just this big, immovable object, this unstoppable force. But she's safer in the ring than Nia. So
she's more methodical, that's for sure. Whereas Nia seems like a wrecking ball.
Yeah, Nia's careless. And then at the end, when she threw, what's her name?
Oh my god.
And Tamina eats Selena Vega's knee right in the face because that's how Nia Jax threw her out of the ring. It's just Nia being unsafe again.
I feel like she almost was like, I'm going to pick her up, I'm going to throw Zelina, like one of the tiniest people on the main roster, out of the ring.
Far as I can.
But she's like, oh shit, as soon as she threw her, she's like, wow, that was really light. Like, you know when you go to pick up a heavy bag, but then you realize it's light as hell and you lose your balance? That's what Nia did.
Yeah.
So, poor Tamina, like, eats the knee right to the mouth. Anywho, so Nia went over and won. I feel like I don't know when she's going to get this title shot. Either that or they're going to do something where it's like Nia gets screwed, or they just play it off and we forget about it. And then 8 months down the road, she says, hey, remember that one time I won a battle royal? Yeah, I never got that title shot.
I'm sure she'll get her shot, but who knows how they're going to build it? Who knows what the heat is going to be like going into the match? I don't know. I don't dislike Nia.
Yeah.
But I dislike the way they flip-flop with her character so much.
Oh my god.
That she's a heel, she's a face, she's being bullied, she becomes a bully. After she won the Battle Royal, she was almost
crying.
In tears.
Yeah.
She's got this big smile on her face, and she's so happy that she won. And that's just a moment for us watching. You know, we know it's not kayfabe when she's expressing that kind of emotion, and it just makes her a more likable person. And I wish they could go in that direction with her character, because the next night on Raw, she's back to like no emotion,
mocking Ember,
snarling, and it doesn't suit her.
And the fact that she's not even like a tweener, she's like literally one extreme or the other extreme.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
I just wish they would let her display her likable personality and see where they can go with that.
I couldn't agree more, especially like because they already did the whole like Nia Jax like talking Ronda down and Alexa down or whatever, and like they don't need to do that again. Like that's what'll be boring.
Right.
Maybe have Nia a little bit likable. Maybe we'll be like, wow, like I would really like to see her beat Ronda. Or who knows, maybe she'll get drafted to SmackDown and she'll face Becky.
That's
who knows?
kind of what I was thinking.
I don't know when they're going to do another thingy-mabobber, like a draft, but there hasn't been one for a little while.
It has to be after Survivor Series at this point, too.
Well, that's true, because they only have 2 weeks until Survivor Series. Anywho. Okay, so the third one is the Mae Young Classic Final. So Toni Storm defeated Io Shirai. This was probably the best, like, overall, like, match of the night. Because the obvious is the best, like, actual match of the night. But this was a wrestling match, not a gimmick match. The one thing that surprised me is the crowd. That's, like, one risk that you run of having somebody or two people. Let's be honest, the crowd may know Toni Storm a little bit more, but Io Shirai just showed up like a few months ago, and if you didn't watch the Mae Young Classic, you have no idea who either of these two people are. You may have just heard of Toni's name through like social media or whatever, but before Io was in the Mae Young Classic, I didn't really know her. So I can see, so that's why I'm saying I was very surprised they had the crowd the whole time. And I get that, like, the whole crowd was great. In Long Island, they were fantastic. And they were into every single match. This was no different. This was a great wrestling match. I don't really have any complaints, if I'm honest. The right person won. Toni won. This was the shortest match of the night, though.
And that's the only complaint that I've heard about this match.
Is that they didn't give him enough. Yeah.
But at the same time, everything that you just said justifies the reason why they kept it short. Because if it had no heat going in, you could lose the fans. I mean, it went the other way. The fans were super into it because they had smart fans, engaged fans the whole night. I think part of that was the way they laid out the show. It kept fans interested the whole time and kept them energized. But they didn't know that going into the night, so hedge your bets, keep the match short. If that's the only thing that people can say about the match was, oh fuck, it sucked because it was too short, well, at least they're not calling out botches or boredom, or there wasn't nobody like, busted out a beach ball to bounce around instead of watching the match. They didn't sell popcorn during this match. If the only complaint was that it was short, then I think it's still a positive.
That's, I mean, I just am curious about where so Tony is in the NXT UK division, so she'll be on that show, or she already has been. And then Io is actually in the at the Performance Center. So I'm sure she'll show up on NXT TV sooner rather than later, especially now that, well, we'll get to this match later, but now that Karsane is kind of like a 3-against-1 type situation.
Okay.
Because I know they have history over in Japan, so we'll see. But anyways, we'll get to that when we get to the NXT title match. Okay, so the 6-woman tag happened next. And I'll just be straight up honest. When I heard this match was announced, I rolled my eyes. Even though I love all the girls in this match, I just was like, what makes this match any more special than what they've done on Raw for months now?
For the last month.
And it's basically been, Sasha Bailey versus Riot Squad, insert other person here. Yeah. I'm glad they gave it to Natty, though, because it was rumored that it was going to be Ivory.
Oh, really?
When that, quote-unquote, I'm air quoting, when that leaked script for happened, 2 months ago, Ivory was slated to be their partner. I'm glad they went with Natty, because I'll be honest, Natty deserved to be in, like, a match.
Absolutely.
As much as everybody else in that match did as well, but I'm glad they did it. And my takeaway is that this match actually was, besides Becky Charlotte, this was actually my favorite match besides that match.
Really?
I just enjoyed it. I loved the way they structured the match. I found it very enjoyable. Obviously, the faces won. I'm just glad that they didn't run it like a typical 6-woman tag that they have on Raw. And that's what I was really happy about, is because Sasha Bailey took a lot of heat. And that's where I was going to ask you what you thought, because I'll be honest, they took, like, I'll say between the two of them, they took 90% of the heat in that match, and Natty took about 10%. So you split that 90 between the two of them. That's a lot of heat for one match. And I cannot remember the runtime of this match. Let's just say I think it was 13 or 14 minutes. But they took a lot of heat. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think if you're going to have two people doing the bumping and the selling, you should have it be those two.
The two best bumpers / sellers in the company.
The two best ring workers out of those 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to eat a lot of heat. They're going to take a lot of bumps. But if you're trying to put over the match and you're trying to insert some psychology into it, then those are the two that you're going to have do it.
I just thought it was hilarious because when I watched their post-match interview of Bailey and Sasha and Natty, and they're talking about the match, and this just got me like laughing so hard. Bailey and Sasha looked like they went through hell, and then you look at Natty, and she looked as fresh as a daisy.
She still got her buns in.
Her hair looked perfect. Whereas you look at Sasha and Bailey, and their makeup's running. Sasha's hair's everywhere. Bailey's hair's everywhere, and I'm like, did Natty even wrestle? So I watched the match back, and yeah, she barely wrestled that match.
But that's what you get when you have NXT TakeOver. That mindset that the girls had going into the match. Mm-hmm. They knew they were going to have the spotlights on them, first of all, and they did everything they could to deliver.
I love the Riot Squad.
Yeah. Like,
I think they work so well together. Like, you just watch how quick their tags are, and, like, there's not a lot of thinking that goes into... Like, usually sometimes if you watch, like, a match, especially when it's, like, multi-people, you can, like, basically, well, in my opinion, just because I know how matches work, but you watch them and you're, like, you can, like, hear them thinking. Like, they look like they're thinking really hard about what they're going to do. Whereas you look at, I'm just going to use Sasha Bailey as an example because they work really well together. It looks completely effortless. Like, absolutely effortless, like they're barely trying, even though I know obviously they're trying because they want everything to look good. But then you look at the Riot Squad and they're just like so in tune, like it's just like going, and they showed that in this match, and I really like it because their matches before this were actually with the Bellas and with, so I feel like now that they've gotten back into, like, I want to call them actual matches, right? They're showcasing how great they are. And I really, really hope they don't break them up anytime soon. Like, because I'll be honest, the only one that's going to swim is probably Ruby. Whereas I feel like the other two add to her, and they add to each other. I was listening to a podcast this morning that they predicted that Ruby was going to be the next challenger for the Raw Women's title, and that
Really?
those other two should stick with her throughout that.
I don't know. It's gonna be tough to argue against Brie Bella having another title shot.
You mean Nikki Bella?
Yeah, but
or
now,
Brie,
now
or
it's
Brie.
Brie's turn, right?
Ugh,
So
Mike, don't.
we have to get through that
don't.
first.
Sorry, I always have to say this. I do love you, Brie, but I just am like, no, I'm sorry. I'm over it. Like, I just can't. That's just, in my opinion, the best way to, like, get Ronda over is to have good matches. And the last few that she haven't been with the best wrestlers. I feel like if she had a match with Ruby, well, I think they did have a Raw match, actually. And Ruby lost. But anywho, it was a good match. That was the best match I've seen her have, because I'll say it every week, like I have been, Ruby can have a great match with a mop.
There you go.
So there we go, like one of the best workers. So anyways, back to the 6-woman tag. I liked it. I liked the finish. I think it's the first time Sasha's won with the frog splash, though. I think.
Maybe.
I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know your memory's worse than mine.
Yeah. I like the finish because Bailey got to do her Macho Man flying elbow.
Yeah.
Her favorite wrestler growing up was Macho Man.
Love it.
And then Sasha won with the frog splash.
A la El
Because-
Guerrero.
Because her childhood favorite wrestler was Eddie Guerrero. So I
Boom.
love it.
It made me happy. No complaints. I mean, the right people won. Like, not a lot of heels won, and we'll get to
No.
that next match. Shayna
Yeah.
was the only heel that won.
Yeah.
I don't count Becky as a heel. She ain't a heel. Come on. The girl speaks her truth. We'll get to that later. So anyways, I liked it. I'm just very curious, where does Natty go from here? Like, she basically was just insert person here. And
Yeah, probably another heel turn coming up. I don't
she's
know.
like
she's
a different version of Nia.
she's
That's
still
back and forth.
BFFs with Ronda, so
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll stay somewhat in the spotlight. But she was never someone that you were going to expect to have 4-star matches anyway.
Well, and that's why I was curious that she didn't come out with Ronda. It's like they've dropped that friendship all of a sudden. Like, nothing happened. They just were like, hey, yeah, you're not with her anymore.
Yeah, especially considering in this main event match, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
You had Brie Bella on the outside. You know there's going to be shenanigans. Why would you not go out and back
Yeah,
up your
just
best
like
friend,
eye
the
rolls.
person that you trained to get to this spot? And you're like, yeah, I'll hang out in the back, even though, you know, my hair is still good.
Yeah,
You know,
I look
haven't
great.
broken a sweat yet.
Sasha and Bailey bumped 90% of that match
I'm
for
gonna
me.
chill back here, and
Oh, I love you, Natty.
maybe her cat was back there, so she didn't want to.
Oh, yeah, what's his name? Two Paws or whatever, right? Anywho, all right. The fifth match was the NXT Women's Title match.
Mm-hmm.
So it had Shayna Baszler actually regained the title against Kairi Sane. What did you think?
Well, I can't really say much about it
Because you were cooking me dinner.
Because I was cooking dinner, so I think I was chopping garlic during this match.
No, you were crying because you were cutting onions.
Oh, the onions, it killed me.
What did you see through your tears?
I mean, I didn't know a lot about the build coming into this match because
Yeah.
I don't watch NXT. So I didn't know anything about the heat, the backstory, or anything going into the match. What I saw, I enjoyed. I thought the high spots were good.
Yeah.
Nothing was, over the top. Nothing was too gimmicky. Even though you have a pirate princess in the match, it didn't feel gimmicky.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't really see a lot of it because I was cooking, so I don't have much to say, positive or negative, about it.
I thought it was very interesting that they had Shayna win the title back, just because I thought that she was main roster ready. And she
Right.
very much well could be. She could
Yeah.
show up to the main roster. Kevin Owens did
Kevin
it.
Owens did.
Sasha Banks did it with the title. Who else did? I think those are really the only two that I can think of at the moment. But it really, I feel like this was the biggest way to introduce the other two. And I said before, I was like, there was no coincidence that they didn't bring those two onto television up until now, when they've been doing the house show circuit for months with Shayna. There was no coincidence, and this kind of proved why. Except I fully expected their actual television debut to be when they help Ronda. But helping Shayna regain the title is just as good. It gets them heat. It establishes them right away. I'm glad they did it the way they did. The only thing negative I have to say about the way they introduced them is they made them also look kind of weak, because they had Kari kind of just beating them up, and all of a sudden Shayna gets her in her submission and she's out. So I was like, wait, what? Like, you beat them up just to get Shayna? Well, I get it. It's typical, like, booking 101.
Just the typical heel spot.
So if you're going to have Karsane lose it that way, then that's fine. I'm not upset about it. The match was great. Shayna's a monster heel. Shayna's probably the best, like, actual heel in the women's division. And not just in NXT, but all 3 divisions. Or I guess 4 divisions now, because there's a UK women's division. I think she's great. We'll get to the UK thing later, but Rhea Ripley is actually probably number 1. Now that I'm saying that, she is, spoiler, but not really, she's the NXT UK Women's Champion. And if you didn't see it, she dressed up as the girl that got injured. She broke her leg against her in the Mae Young Classic. Tegan Nox. She dressed up as for Halloween.
Oh, well.
If that's not a heel, then I don't know what is.
That's right back to Owen 316 says, I just broke your neck.
But anyway, back to Shayna. She's great. I'm just really curious because I really don't see her not being on the main roster past Royal Rumble. I think she's going to be on the main roster by Royal Rumble. Or at the Royal Rumble. She'll be in it, I guarantee. Because I think she was she in Royal Rumble? No, she wasn't. I don't think she was last year. I can't remember. Bad memory.
I was probably drunk by that point, so I don't know.
Yeah, most likely. Because I feel like I was here watching it. I probably was. But yeah, I liked it. I'm glad that the 3 girls are on TV together now, because it just moves us an inch closer towards what Kayla wants out of all of this in the next year or so. So I'm happy about it. Yeah, it was a good match, like an actual match too.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about it.
I liked watching that match with you because after the match, when the 3 of them were walking back up the aisle, Shayna and the other 2 MMA girls, you explained the whole backstory to me. You explained who they were, that they've been working on house shows, but this was their TV debut. So had I watched that by myself, I wouldn't have appreciated it as much as I did without that explanation. So that was my favorite part of the match.
Was me just blabbing about what's actually happening.
You explaining to me what's going on.
Dumb it down. I really like that they put them over continuously as the 4 horsewomen. Like, they kept saying that. I really like that. And then even actually earlier in the night with the 6-woman tag, or I guess the match before, Cole actually mentioned it as well with Sasha Bailey. And then they mentioned it again with Shayna and Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir. So I liked that. They kept planting the seeds too, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen eventually.
Yep.
I just thought it would have happened by now, if I'm honest. I'm just impatient. I'm one of those people. I'm like, can we start building towards what I want? Because I'm selfish like that. Okay, so we'll go to the main event. The real main event. So Becky, surprisingly, because I honestly felt like Charlotte was going to win, Becky retained her title against Charlotte in a holy shit match.
I can't say enough about how much I loved this match.
It was great.
It was
fabulous.
It was nostalgia factor with all the carnage. It was great psychology.
Can we just talk about what I know what you're going to say, because what was your favorite spot of the match? Because I know we're going to say the exact same thing.
Well, my favorite spot of the match was, oh man, I don't know. My favorite.
As soon as I say it, you're gonna be like, yeah, I agree.
What?
When they started throwing chairs into the middle of the ring.
Yes. It was just shades of ECW.
They got ECW chants.
When they were just there. there's something about it that just, it seemed natural.
Big fight feel, but natural. Yeah, it wasn't forced. That's a good point.
It felt like we were just watching something spontaneous, something like, it didn't feel contrived like a lot of matches do. Like, oh, here comes this spot, here comes that spot. One of the girls threw a chair in the ring, then the other one did. And the other one did. And I popped so hard.
It was great.
I loved that spot.
It was great. We were giggling the whole time until Becky, I think, ran out of chairs first.
Yeah.
And I just was like, this is
and then
great.
I think did Charlotte start setting up a table after that? Or
yeah, she was like, I ran out of chairs, so I'm going to set up a table. And you were like, wait, what? And then it was for the eventual finish 20-some minutes later. But it was great because I feel like at that point it set because it was very early in the match. It was like a few minutes in they started doing that. And I think it set the tone.
Absolutely.
Because it set the tone like, wow, they're not going to hold back. Not that I ever thought they would, but they didn't. And my biggest takeaway was, I feel like, because I would have had the same mentality as Charlotte if I was going into the match as her, where I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to wrestle for 30 minutes, and I'm not going to win the title. Beat the shit out of me. Just beat the absolute living shit out of me. Make yourself, like, because I know they're best friends in real life. If that was my best friend, even as a worker, because I'm like this, but I would say beat the shit out of me and just make this match everything it could be. And it was great. The last time I've seen Charlotte take a beating like that was from Sasha Banks. We haven't seen it since in any women's match, I don't think, since. Charlotte, Becky, that kendo stick is going to be in Charlotte's nightmares for the rest of her life.
That was, man.
That's twice I've seen her get a thrashing like that, and I'm like, holy shit, girl. Do you pitch the kendo stick? Or do people just decide, hey, I'm going to hit you with it because you're tall?
I feel like I could watch the match again right now
and
love every second of it. I love that spot. Even though it wasn't, it didn't go off without a hitch. The figure eight through the chair or through the ladder. I'm a Bret Hart mark.
Yeah.
And the Bret Hart figure four around the ring post, like that. Yeah. Seeing a spot like that takes me back to those days. I loved it. I don't want to get ahead of what you want to talk about.
Oh, no, keep going.
When after Becky did the leg drop off the ladder onto the announce table?
For what?
Becky onto Charlotte, then she started burying her in chairs.
Oh, yeah. When
she brings over half the table and chucks it on there.
Just chair after chair after chair.
I loved that spot because, I don't know.
It was
just
desperation, Becky.
Just awesome. It's just things that you don't see, and it feels so organic that in that moment, Charlotte's laying there, she's laid out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she had a chair on her or something, and Becky just thought, I'm just going to start piling office furniture on top of you. I fucking loved it.
I think it was such a Becky thing to do. She was desperate, and I liked that. And I liked that they didn't have, because the one thing I can't stand is watching these faces try to get over as faces, and they start to quote-unquote, either Hulk up or Super Cena it.
Yeah.
Charlotte didn't do that at all this match, and I love it. So she got over as a face in my book because she was just so determined, because she's like, I want my title, and my best friend's a bitch.
Yeah.
I need to win this.
It was perfect psychology when she came up through the chairs, almost like a Braun Strowman type moment where it's like, you can't put me down like that. The look on her face, that, like you said, the baby face determination. Yeah. The only thing I didn't like about it was Becky's reaction to it was
surprised or whatever.
It was fear. She's showing she's supposed to be badass rather than showing the fear that a heel would show. It should have been frustration.
It was almost
she should have been
fear
pissed that
into
it didn't
desperation.
Work.
Because right after that, they went kind of right into the finish, I think. And Charlotte didn't really get an upper hand after that. She kind of did a little bit, but not really.
No.
And I liked that. Instead of her going up and down like a wave, I liked that it stayed pretty consistent with both of them.
Right.
I remember the one spot, Charlotte was going for her moonsault and she missed. And they both just kind of rolled off the table. I remember as soon as that happened, this is the one spot in the match that I'm really glad, because Becky is a ring general. Charlotte's getting there. She's not there yet, but Becky's a ring general. And I remember turning to you and I said, she just told Charlotte to do it again. And you're like, did she?
No, she put her wrist over her mouth.
Yeah.
And I asked you, was she asking if she was hurt, or was she talking to the ref saying, like, buy me some time? I think that's what I said.
Okay.
Is she saying, buy me some time? And you said, no, she's telling her, do it again.
Yeah, because
and I was like, no, they're not just going to set the table up and redo the spot.
No,
you're like, she told her. You're like, I know.
Yeah.
I know what Becky's like in the ring. She said, do it again.
Well, and that's the thing where I'm like, that was a for sure Becky spot. And I'm like, she's going to tell her to do it again, because there's no way that Becky like, I know for a fact at the end of the match, Charlotte would be like, fuck, I missed that spot.
Right.
Becky is like a person where it's like, this is a big spot. We're doing this again, and we're going to do it right. And the one thing I'm very glad about is that Charlotte did it front ways the next time. Like, she did like a senton. No,
yeah,
senton?
like a swanton.
Almost, kind of. And she actually put her through. And I'm glad that they didn't, like, rush into it.
Right.
She called it, and they kind of just, like, went about their business, and Charlotte worked her way back into it, and they got there, and they did the table spot.
Yeah.
I'm glad they did it, but yeah, it was 100% a Becky call, and I loved it. And that's just because I watch Becky matches a lot, because I like the way she works her matches.
Yeah.
And that was just a perfect example. Like, some people me like, why would you do that? But if she would have went for, like I'm saying, it was a good call on Charlotte's part that she didn't go for the moonsault again.
Right.
Because if she would have missed it a second time,
that's
because her
what people would be
moonsault seemed
talking
a
about.
little off that night, if she missed it again, it probably would have set a bad tone for the rest of the match. So I'm glad that she went front ways and hit it, because I would have felt devastated for her.
Yeah.
What else do I got to say about it? The finish was great. I liked that they had her try to get up, but then fall, 10 count. Because I was like, why is she moving so much? Like, this is going to be the finish, hopefully. Why is she moving so much? She tries to get up. Oh, can't get up. Becky wins. It still establishes Charlotte. I liked Becky's reaction, because she was like, fuck yes, I just did that.
Yeah.
Like, that was fantastic. I liked that she didn't have her get in Charlotte's face. I liked that she just, was like, give me my title. Like, this is my baby. I'm going to hug it, and we're going to walk out, because this is what I fought for this whole time. I love it. This, like, the whole storyline psychology was great. I loved it.
The finish, I've been referring to as a Mick Foley spot.
Yeah.
Ever since it happened. The trust that they must have together. Now, you've been in the ring. I haven't. I'm just a typical Mark. But when they go to the back, is Becky thanking Charlotte for doing that spot? Is she saying, obviously off camera, but is she saying, like, thank you for letting me do that? Thank you for trusting me? Like, is that something that happens backstage? Do you think she's thanking her for that?
It's so funny that you asked me that, because you're the second person that asked me that this week. Or maybe it was just you twice that you asked. No. Oh, yeah, okay, whatever. No, and I'm pretty sure someone else asked me that this week. But when I do something like that, I say it right after or right before, where I'll be like, okay, so say, for example, we're going into a finish and I'm going over. My finish, coincidentally, usually involves an insecurity or a super kick of some form. As I'm pinning them, I say thank you.
Okay.
Or right after, depending on how I'm pinning them, or if I'm still catching my breath. Usually I'm winded, so I'm catching my breath. But I say thank you right away. When Charlotte and, oh my god, I keep wanting to say Sasha. Charlotte and Becky
That's my
were into like mumbling my words. When they were into that spot, you could tell Becky was communicating, not to
she
like
said it
completely.
then.
She said it then, guaranteed.
Interesting.
Because they weren't close to each other. If she had to pin her, then I'm sure she would have said it then. She probably said it again when they went to the back, like, thank you for the match.
Yeah.
But for that spot specifically, it was said right before. I guarantee it. I would put money on it. So, yeah, that's just the way it is. I just think it's a respect thing as well. And that girl's been wrestling since she was, like, 14, so
Yeah.
she respects the
She
business.
knows the
so.
respect factor. Okay.
And Charlotte does, too, because I'm pretty sure she says that all the time,
Oh, yeah.
too. Like, you look at it.
Yeah, no, that spot is for sure my spot of the year. Nothing is going to top that. I love that.
The chairs were my favorite.
Yeah.
Because you don't see that shit. Like,
No, and I love that moment. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I love
it
that moment.
fits
But
with it.
that spot was
Yeah.
just when she had her up, caught her before the moonsault, and I was like, no way. I thought she was going to do it Dudley Boy style.
oh,
and
like a
jump
power
off,
bomb or
and,
whatever?
And she would
Yeah.
take the brunt of that impact on her ass and her legs, and she threw Charlotte through the table, Mick Foley style. Fucking amazing.
So I'm just thinking about it now, because I was thinking, I'm like, okay, table spot. Ironically, I'm happy that they chose that as the finish, because that's how Becky lost the SmackDown Women's title the first time, was going through a table like that.
Really?
Yeah. I think I don't know if Alexa powerbombed her or she, like, knocked her through it, but she fell like that through a table, off the ring apron, onto the floor. That's how she lost her SmackDown Women's title the first time.
Comes full circle.
Yeah, so I was like, ooh, that's very interesting. I love it. Love you, Becky. You're killing the game.
She is, and
She's killing the game.
that's why I just didn't like the two spots in that match where she took her belt and walked away.
Yeah, she should have just walked away, not taken the belt.
Chicken shit heel, and then showing the fear when Charlotte got up from being buried under all the Staples furniture, all the office furniture from Staples.
The Staples furniture guy. Okay.
All the IKEA furniture.
So we'll go to Ronda and Nikki. They got a good amount of time, because I heard that this match was supposed to be between 10 to 12. It was about 12 minutes. I think, it was about 12 or 13 minutes. But regardless, I didn't hate it.
No.
But it wasn't the most exciting match of the night.
It was vanilla. It was
there
like
you go, that's a perfect.
5 out of 10. There was nothing great. There was nothing bad. It looked like Nikki got dumped on her head at the beginning of the match.
I was like, and the finish.
Yeah, and then the finish, that awkward turnbuckle thing. I didn't see any replays of that, so I don't know how bad it looked in slow motion.
It just looked like a tumble of, like, body and legs that fell, and then all of a sudden Ronda's holding her arm, and I'm like, ooh, that looked like it legitimately hurt.
Nothing good, nothing bad. It was just an average match.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think when Ronda had them both up on her shoulders and she dumped them, I think that should have been the finish. I think that was your emotional high. I don't think you needed to continue the match after that. It was what it was.
It's kind of, because we were talking about Natty not too long ago right now, in the sense that, like, why didn't Natty go out there? That makes no sense, because she's been by Ronda's side since Ronda debuted. Why isn't Ronda there? And I think, why isn't Natty there? I honestly, the only reason I can think of why she wasn't there this match is to show that Ronda is, like, A, powerful, and B, can overcome the odds.
Yeah. That's
really the only reason. And I feel like it's just going to lead to something in the future that does end up with her friends joining her. Especially since Nikki, oddly enough, mentioned, you have no friends, Ronda. You have no nothing. Where Natty's been literally walking her to the ring for weeks and weeks and weeks. This was the first, like, it was just like, really?
You're not supposed to remember that. That happened a week ago. You're not supposed to remember
like,
those things.
They must think we have Dory memory. Because, honest to God, like, these things are on the internet, people. They're there forever. Like, how you can't forget this, especially when you're trying to be invested and you're going to forget week to week. There's no way. I thought it was interesting. The only thing is, I thought the heat was really long. Like, I thought Nikki beating up on Ronda went on for way too long.
I don't know if you watched the pay-per-view that had Alexa versus Ronda.
Which one? Like SummerSlam?
Was it SummerSlam?
Where she won the title?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was
like,
I think it was Alexa, but
well, she's really only wrestled like 3 people.
Yeah,
so.
true.
She's got to be Alexa.
Ronda sold and sold and sold and sold and sold in that match. And
maybe it wasn't Alexa then.
I feel like it was Alexa.
Or Nia.
No,
Because when Ronda beat Alexa for the title, it was kind of like a Ring Around the Rosie match, where like Alexa was trying to avoid her, and avoid her, and avoid her, and then all of a sudden Ronda like grabbed her and was like, "Okay, the match is over."
I'm pretty sure I remember her selling a lot during that match because Mickey was ringside, right? So there would have been shenanigans.
Probably.
But I remember her selling a lot. But in this match, she's against a fucking reality show bimbo.
Yeah.
There should have been no selling. It should have been her chasing her around the ring, Brie getting involved, maybe a ref bump, I don't know. But I don't know, just
like Nikki's heat wasn't terrible. Like it did look like kind of legitimate, you know what I mean? Like, but it just went on for too long.
Yeah.
That I'm like, she's just beating the shit out of her. Like,
although, like, you know, I hate the Bellas, but that sidewalk slam that Nikki gave Ronda was impressive.
Sidewalk slam.
Yeah, right before the finish.
Oh, okay.
She like
I can't remember if I'm honest.
Scooped her and slammed her down. I like that. I like that, but
yeah,
that's the one positive thing you'll ever hear me say about a Bella.
It did the job. I mean, whatever. But it was nowhere like I don't want to call it the worst wrestled match of the night because I think the first match might have been close. I'd probably rate it the same.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know, just vanilla. It was average.
Yeah, after you had freaking Charlotte Flair and them before, like you're not gonna. There's just no following it. Anywho, overall, the pay-per-view is really good.
Oh, fantastic! It was my favorite pay-per-view of the year.
Oh yeah,
far and
guaranteed.
away.
Unless like some shit happens at Survivor Series, like some good shit, not the shenanigan shit.
Yeah, no, it'll probably just be a paint by the numbers Raw versus SmackDown thing again.
Well, that's the way it's looking.
Yeah.
Originally, people kept saying like, "Oh, it's just going to be like actual Survivor Series. It's not going to be Raw versus SmackDown."
No,
but it looks like it's building to that.
We've already got Ronda versus Becky.
Yeah.
Announced, so
it'll
be another paint by numbers pay-per-view where it's 50-50 booked, so no show looks weaker than the other.
Ugh. Well, that's the thing. Like, I would okay, so we're just gonna skip right to SmackDown because we're talking about this already. So on SmackDown, Becky cut a promo on Ronda. Fabulous promo, by the way.
Okay.
Absolutely fabulous. Got straight to the point. Basically, like, everybody keeps waiting now that Becky's gonna show up and beat the shit out of Ronda on Raw, because that's basically what she alluded to. And she's like, I don't care, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna rip your arm out before we even get there, because I'm better. Like, who was everybody talking about? We were the main event. You were not.
When she cut this promo, did the crowd cheer?
They loved her, yeah.
So will they edit that to boos when they do the hype package for Survivor Series?
They probably already did it, if I'm honest. It's probably already made. The YouTube version of the promo's probably boos.
Yeah.
And, she actually even called them out on it. She's like, I am the champion you guys want, not Ronda or something. Or something along the lines. It's on Twitter. But regardless, it was great. I'm excited. I have a fear that Becky's going to lose. The only way I'll accept if Becky loses is if she has some help. Ronda has some help,
right.
Sorry. Because if I'm honest, Becky deserves this spotlight. It's just the way it is. She's bringing a lot more attention to the women's division than... I'll be honest, that pay-per-view was sold to me by Becky.
Yeah.
I don't think I heard of anybody that was a Ronda Rousey or Nikki Bella fan that actually bought the pay-per-view. I'm sorry. Anywho, so we'll just continue with SmackDown. So I saw an interesting stat. There hasn't been a women's match on SmackDown in almost a month.
Really?
Yeah.
Not even tag matches?
No, nothing. The only thing they've really been doing is like some promos / like Becky Charlotte beating the shit out of each other.
How do you feel about that?
I didn't realize that this was the thing until somebody pointed it out. I was like, huh, interesting. Especially before Evolution. But really the only SmackDown match was Becky Charlotte. The rest of the girls were in the Battle Royal. I am on the fence because they're very focused on like the women's title, as it should be because it's the women's title. But at the same time, like, you have so many great women on SmackDown, but I feel like their roster's a little like diluted right now. Like, they have great talent, but they don't have, like, it feels like Raw has a revolving door right now.
Yeah.
Of like legends coming back and like this and like and that, and they keep, whenever these people are coming into the women's division, they're going to Raw right now. Whereas like SmackDown has like the Iconics, and they've got Absolution, and then they've got Asuka and Naomi, and then I guess you can count Lana.
Carmella.
But it's, and Carmella. So it's like, and all of those girls have all had like a rivalry in the last like year. So it's like, well, are we going to fight for the 800th time again?
But see, that's a problem that I've had with the women's division for the last 2 years, is they're not, it is just a revolving door.
Yeah.
So you have a champ and she beats each contender, or they flip the belt around. There isn't really a mid-card. It's just everybody crammed into the title picture. Because even Lana got her title shot, right? Didn't she have like
she had
2
three
in 3
title
weeks
shots
or
against
something?
Charlotte. Yeah.
Like, they don't know how to book the women's matches unless they're for the title.
Yeah.
So if Becky and Charlotte aren't having matches, then I can see them being like, well, we don't know what the fuck to do with the talent then.
Well, and that's the thing. They just need to do something different. Like, someone, like, I'll be honest, there's like 3 or 4 faces. The rest of them are heels. Like, they got to do something. And like I've even said before, I sound like a broken record, but there's no coincidence that they keep teaming girls up. Like, and recognizing them as teams. I think the cure, I don't even want to call it a cure, but it'll help because they've had the Iconics, they have Absolution still, and they've been teaming Asuka and Naomi for months.
Okay.
Boom. There we go. Introduce these tag titles. They're floating. Sasha Bailey show up because I want them to win the titles first. So let's just say Boston Hug, they show up every other week to a random thing. There you go. Build this month. Oh, we're feuding on SmackDown.
That's too
this
easy,
month
though.
we're feuding in NXT though. Next month we're feuding in the UK division. Like, float around.
Maybe. I'm old school, and I think that there's more interest and there's more money to be made in the hunt. So I think they get screwed over for the titles by Lita and Trish, and then they're chasing those titles. They have singles matches here and there.
Yeah.
There's some sort of shenanigans that prevent them from having their tag team title match until, Royal Rumble, or if they could possibly stretch out a storyline all the way to Mania. I don't know. It's a long time from now, but I would rather see, because you want that match. You want Trish and Lita versus Sasha and Bailey. That's what they want. That's what all 4 of them are dying for.
Yeah.
But who's the face, who's the heel? You have to eventually establish somebody as the heel.
If it's for the titles, I don't think you really need that. At the end of the day, I think, though, that in that match, Bailey Sasha would play heel, but in a face way. They just gain control of the match, maybe flop it back and forth. That's just what you do, and it's easier to do that in a tag match than it is for singles, right? But how would you book? Like, would you do tournament? Or would you do, in my personal opinion, I'd want like a mini tournament, but then I would want the finals to be like almost like a scramble match. But I would want to do like a fatal 4-way tag match, but like elimination style. But I wouldn't want it like in the 4 corners. I'd want it.
Scrambles don't work.
I love scramble matches. They're great. I would want it to be like a tornado tag, though. I wouldn't want them to be in their corners if it's fatal 4-way. I want everybody to just run a ruck or run a ruck, run a mess,
Run
whatever.
amok.
Run amok, and just randomness here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would do it tournament style, but you'd really have to stretch that out. I don't know.
Yeah, have like one match every week, here, there, everywhere.
It's how they used to do like the old Survivor Series qualifying matches and
Yeah.
stuff like that. At least then they could make matches on Raw and SmackDown that actually mean something that might be worth watching.
I mean, I think it would be good, but I don't know, tournaments, like, and that's kind of, like, I don't really like tournaments. I like them if they can do, like, a round-robin thing. So, like, this year with the Mixed Match Challenge, that's what they did, was they did a round-robin instead of, like,
One
a
and
straight-up,
done?
like,
It was
tournament.
one and done before, right?
Yeah, where it was, like, only, I don't even know.
And then someone could get back in or something.
Yeah, like a fan vote thing. But then this year, like, it seems, I think they're doing everybody faces each other twice, but it's still Raw versus SmackDown at the end of the day. Or sorry, it's Raw versus Raw, SmackDown versus SmackDown until the finals, and then it'll be Raw versus SmackDown, I think. But I would like them to do something like that with tag titles. Just have a bunch of matches. You can stretch it out until Mania. Crowning new champs at Royal Rumble, I feel like it's kind of anticlimactic, especially when you're so close to Mania. But
Still, what, 3 months out? 2 months?
Mania's in April, I think. Is it on April Fool's Day this year? Maybe. Who
And
knows?
Rumble's what, February?
Oh, yeah, sorry, Royal Rumble is in January. End of January, usually.
Yeah, so you could stretch that out till Mania.
Or is it February? God, my brain hurts. Whatever, regardless, it's 2 months before Mania always, so do what you gotta do. I think Mania is the perfect time.
Yeah, well, I mean, it has to mean something.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, like I said, crowning them at Royal Rumble would be anticlimactic. Wait till Mania. Who knows? Or crown them at Royal Rumble, but then someone wins the Royal Rumble and says, "Hey, I want those tag titles."
yeah, there you go.
Like, whoops.
Have two people win it, and then they're like, well, let's just team up and go after the tag titles.
And be like, yeah, I don't really want to face Ronda Rousey anymore.
I don't want a job.
Like, yeah, Bailey, like, let's go get these tag titles. Or Peyton and Billy, let's go get these tag titles. Because I feel like a lot of them are legitimate teams, whereas, like, in the past, you've seen, like, them just put, like, randomly two women together, and you can tell that they're just two individuals. Whereas, like, a lot of these teams, like, we'll just use the Iconics as an example. They wrestle and do everything as a team.
Right.
So they look like a legitimate team, which they are, but, like, it doesn't feel like they're faking it. So I'm glad. Even Naomi and Asuka seem like a legitimate team. Like, they work well together. They even have a freaking finisher together.
But even the men don't have that, right? What's the last, like, real men's tag team that weren't just two dudes smashed together?
I would really only say, like, the Revival.
Okay, yeah.
And then
no,
the
it's
Usos,
kind of coming back, hey? Like, Revival, Usos.
And New Day, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, I guess. See, my memory goes back to, like, Edge and Christian and Hardys and Dudley Boys, and then the Rockers and the Hart Foundation. Like, you kind of have to go way back to get that feel that a tag team division mattered, rather than, well, here's a couple mid-card guys, we don't know what to do with them. Let's call them the Bar, and let's have them win the tag team titles 4 times, 5 times this year.
It's so weird because they've been tagged, like, a tag team for years now, like a few years. I still view them as individuals.
Because they are.
Yeah. Like, they wrestle as a team, and don't get me wrong, they've put on great matches, but regardless, if you wrestle as a team, you're a tag team in my mind, and a lot of the women are tag teams now, so why the hell not? And Sasha makes a great point. She says, we have tag team matches every freaking week. Why not give us to fight something
mean
for?
Something.
Yeah, like, what are we fighting for?
Yeah.
And, like, that eye raises, right? Okay, so really the only thing we haven't talked about, because we already talked about the 10-woman tag on Raw, we don't really need to talk about it. There was Ember versus Nia, which was like a pointless match, but at the same time, it was weird because it kind of adds to my thoughts of this tag team division. Tamina came out, offered a distraction, Nia wins. But then Tamina smiles and then walks away. So it's like, are you trying, like if she was trying to fight Nia, you would think that she'd be very confrontational, whereas they seemed buddy-buddy. So I'm like, are they trying to build them as a team? Wouldn't be completely out of the realm as to how the rest of the world is going right now, or the rest of the divisions are either world. I am glad that it was by distraction that Ember lost, considering she had so much momentum from the night before. But I just wish that Ember could be inserted into the title picture. I don't think she will be if Ronda's champ. She needs to go to SmackDown. I'll be honest, she needs to go to SmackDown. So
everyone should go to SmackDown and just leave Ronda and the Bellas.
Yeah, and be like, hey,
Raw.
so your opponent for the next 2 months, this person, we brought them in from the E! Network.
Yeah, there you go.
It's going to be Kim K next month, so get ready.
Oh, that'll put the butts in the seats.
Haha.
Giant butts.
Giant butts. But yeah, I don't know, I don't really have anything to say about it.
Yeah.
Besides, I only really had a thought where I'm like, oh, she didn't beat the shit out of her? Well, they're a team now. I guarantee they're going to show and run amok, like I said, next week.
Either that or it's setting up Tamina versus Ember Moon.
I guarantee that'll probably be next week.
Yeah.
It's going to happen by Survivor Series.
And then Nia will come out and provide the distraction.
Yeah. Well, and it's just kind of like, oh my god, what was I even going to say? Like I said earlier, I think it's just a distraction so that everybody has a distraction away from Nia not getting her title shot yet.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, well, she won. When did she get this? Well, it's not freaking Money in the Bank, so she can't just decide today she's going to cash it in. So I think it's just to distract from the fact that they're probably not going to give her this title shot that she won.
Maybe Evolution 2, Electric Boogaloo. Then she gets her... She gets her title match then, a year from now.
Well, it's like, did you see, I think they were like pins, or no, I think they were actually actual titles, but they were like, you know the blue that Evolution used? They made titles out of that color.
Oh, really?
So they were white and they were like a light blue.
Oh.
And I'm like, ooh, these are very, very pretty. I was like, I wouldn't be against these, how the women's title would look for oh my god, the tag team champions, how they would look. Because they've got to be a white strap.
Yeah.
So I think it would look great, except the fact that they're light blue, I feel like it's still too close to SmackDown. They need to be like a purple or something like in between.
See,
or
I
a
still
yellow,
think they
something
should,
completely
they
out of the
should
realm.
get rid of the SmackDown Women's title. And
No, get rid of the
have,
Raw title.
Or
Becky's
get rid
champ.
of the Raw. They should unify that title and just have one main event title, or one like Universal Champion, and then have a mid-card champion, and then the tag champs, and just have them all float back and forth between the two shows.
I don't know, because if they're going to make the tag thing a floater, but there's only a woman's title on Raw, like, I don't know. Just because now there's lots of women. Like, there's a lot, except I feel like Raw is super stacked right now.
Yeah.
And especially with all the women they've just signed in NXT, a lot of them honestly don't need to be developed. They can just come up to the main roster now. And I think the only reason is because they just didn't want to bring them up and say, like, okay, well, we're bringing you up because you really don't need to be trained, but we have nothing for you. And that's unfortunately a lot of the things that have happened.
So this year, 2018, we've had the first ever Women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
All Women's Rumble. We had
Elimination
the first ever
Chamber.
All Women's Elimination Chamber. The first ever All Women's Money in the Bank.
Twice. No, that was last year.
No, that was this year.
Was it?
Yeah.
No, it was last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
because
Carmella held it.
Yeah, because it was SmackDown,
Okay.
and then this year it was Raw and SmackDown.
Right, you're right.
Yeah. So there's been 3 of those, but regardless, within the last year or so, yeah.
Then we had the All Women's pay-per-view.
Yeah.
The first ever All Women Women's Last Women Standing match.
Quote
first ever.
unquote.
When
The first main roster women's
When
match.
or if do you think that they're just going to make an all women's weekly show?
I don't think they'll do it. I don't think they need to.
No?
No, I'll be honest. I think it would be kind of cool if they did it with, like, dark matches. You know, like, because I know they do that. Get rid of main event. Or keep main event, whatever. But, because that's still a show, surprisingly. Do, like, a...
Where would Breezango be if you got rid of main event?
Oh, I love Tyler Breeze. But yeah, no, do something like that maybe. Like, have a dark match, which usually ends up being the women sometimes before certain shows anyways. Like, for example, Evolution's dark match was for the UK Women's title. It was Rhea Ripley versus Dakota Kai, I believe. So it's like stuff like that. Tape them, put them on the all-women's show. Just put the matches on, I don't care. I don't think they should put them on a show like 205 Live, though.
No?
I don't think so. I think they do well. Like, they'd get probably better ratings than 205, but I don't think it's necessary. There's a lot of women right now, so.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. They only give them like a small sprinkling of time during Raw and SmackDown. Do you think they should or could have their own weekly?
I mean, I wouldn't be against it, but I think they should still be on main TV. I think they help the ratings, if I'm honest, especially on Raw. It's like, if you look at the numbers, they do go up when certain people are within the hour, so it's just interesting to look at. My one last question before we wrap it up. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Survivor Series is coming up now. They haven't set up anything for the elimination match. What do you think it's going to be? I made my dream match, by the way, of current roster women, which I want to share.
Okay.
Because I was like, this is dream, by the way, so it's completely like whoever I want, obviously.
Now, you're talking the 5-on-5 match.
Yes, I'm talking about 5-on-5, yeah. So from the current main roster, okay, well, I guess a few of them aren't main roster, but the current roster of women. So on one team, I put Asuka, Ember, Alexa, and I want Ronda and Shayna to be on one team.
Okay.
Because my other team is probably going to be super freaking obvious, but I put Tony in there with Sasha, Becky, Bayley, and Charlotte. I think it would be really interesting. Just because, like, honestly, a lot of them are my favorite wrestlers right now, and the only reason I probably would have not put Ronda in there, but if I'm putting Shayna, I thought it would be interesting to put Ronda, especially against the other girls.
I think that's a good thought. I think
it's just dream, right?
0%.
I just want to see Tony wrestle with Sasha.
Booked, Becky versus Ronda.
Yeah.
Right.
This is total dream.
But it's going to be SmackDown versus Raw.
Yes. So if it is, this is my prediction.
Okay.
And this is not dream anymore. This is like real life.
Yeah.
So for SmackDown, it's going to be Asuka, Naomi, Charlotte, and the Iconics. But then I completely forgot about Carmella, so I feel like it's going to be one of the Iconics, and then Carmella will be the fifth spot. I don't know why I forgot about. I love her. I don't know why I forgot about her. And then Raw is going to be Nia, Ember, Sasha, Bayley, and then I put Alexa or Natty as spot number 5.
Probably Alexa,
yeah.
Unless they go somewhere different with that.
Or they just don't put Ember in it, but I think they need to.
They should.
Like, after the last, like, pay-per-view, I think they need to. And if they don't put Sasha Bayley in it, I'll be really surprised.
Unless they're going to have their own separate match. That would be a very big
faux pas. Yeah. In Survivor Series, though, in 2 weeks.
Yeah, like a tag match against...
the Riot Squad again. God forbid. God forbid. Sasha Bayley show up next week and they're like, hey, by the way, it's a rematch, but this time it's 2 versus 3. There you go, handicap match.
Now, are they going to do the whole SmackDown invading Raw, Raw invading SmackDown angle again? Or do you think they'll start building these teams to be heel team versus face team?
I'll be honest, I think the only invasion that's going to happen is Ronda or Becky. I think it's going to be Becky, if I'm honest. Just showing up to Raw and walking, like, they're going to have the camera on her, though, and she's going to be walking backstage and just running shit. I think she's just going to beat the shit out of everybody. And I think that leads to the Raw roster going to SmackDown the week before, all of them, because Becky showed up by herself and just attacks everybody. Think Raw roster, shows up to SmackDown the week before the go home show, and that leads to an overall brawl with everybody. Someone on Twitter actually posted about this, but yeah. I added the Raw Invasion part and the go home show. But I saw it and I loved the idea of Becky just showing up, beating the shit out of everybody that she sees. Because she basically said it in her promo that she'll beat everybody up on Raw. So I think it'll be Becky.
I'd like to see that. I don't think they're just holding back on her character.
Becky, I don't think so. I think she's going.
It's really unfortunate to see. I know, but just even on Evolution, they edit in her promo, her
boos.
Don't hurt your neck on the way out of the ring, and they edit in boos.
Boo.
Like, where are they going with her character?
Yeah.
It feels like they're holding her back from her real potential.
I think this would be
so
a good
for her
way
to show up
it.
by herself, it's like, oh no, we can't do that. She's gonna get over. So she'll go with, I don't know, Tamina or something. No, Tamina's on Raw, isn't she?
Hey Tamina, I know you're on Raw, but help me beat up Ronda.
You don't like her, I don't like her.
Tamina probably would, because Tamina's that person. I think that would be great, though. Anyways, so what do you think it's going to be?
For Survivor Series?
Yeah.
I think they'll book heel versus face matches.
Okay.
I think that, last time they made it about the general managers. Kurt Angle was incompetent, and Stephanie comes out and chops his balls off and makes him feel like a little useless, whatever. So they made it about the authority. I don't think they can really go that way this year. So I think they could kind of go old school and book it heel versus faces. I think you have enough of a roster now, especially for the women. You could go Riot Squad with Alexa and Mickey and have a heel team against a face team. Asuka, Charlotte. I don't know who else you'd put in there.
Carmella.
Yeah, Carmella's kind of a tweener now.
Lana, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Lana's more of a tweener, I think. Carmella's pretty much face now.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she hasn't really done anything dishonorable in weeks.
Yeah.
So I think she's there.
Or you could go...
Naomi.
Is she heel?
She's face.
Oh, face, yeah. Sorry. So I think you could go that way with it this year. Yeah, I think that's what I would do. But
that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Or just
it's so
Raw
tough
versus
because,
Raw, SmackDown versus SmackDown. But there's not enough girls.
What they're trying to do is get enough pay-per-view time for all their biggest stars. So whether they're heel, whether they're face, we just got to get them into matches. So that's typically why they do that. But I feel like they could go heel versus face.
What I would be really interested to see, let's just say, it's only 2 weeks away. So Alexa still hasn't been cleared yet. As obvious, because she didn't do anything on Raw. She was just standing there. I think it would be really interesting to have Riot Squad, Bayley, Sasha, one team for Survivor Series.
Well, that could be interesting.
Because...
the dynamics, since they've been fighting each other since
forever.
Yeah, since
they came up a year ago almost.
Yeah,
no, not even a year. 8
Mother's
months
Day
ago.
or something.
I think that would be interesting. Or just, I don't know. Just throw them all into one match and eliminate each other. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah, that's all I got to talk about today. Not a lot happened. I didn't watch NXT. All I know is that Nikki Cross is being a badass as usual. She's in the main event scene, basically.
Yeah.
Just running shit shows over there. It's great. That's only a matter of time now, too, until she gets called up.
Do you think we'll see Trish and Lita at Survivor Series?
Ooh. Where is Survivor Series? I can't remember now. I feel like it's somewhere on the west side of the country. But anyways, regardless, I don't know. I feel like them having that match on Monday was very kind of like, hey, we'll see you guys in a few weeks kind of a thing, but...
They could put Alundra Blaze in a match
God,
see if
Mike.
she actually survives until the end of the match.
You're
Make it a real
horrible.
Survivor Series match.
You're terrible. Just battle or survival of the fittest.
Yeah, just survival. Just
You're horrible. Oh my god, I don't even know what to say. Yeah, no, I think, I don't know. Because that's 2 spots for Team Raw that, unless they do, I don't know what they're going to do, if I'm honest.
Have a heel team and a face team against a face team and a heel team from SmackDown? It's a lot of matches,
I don't think
though.
there's enough girls in
That'd be
SmackDown, though.
That'd be like an 11-hour pay-per-view.
Frick, yes, it would, because they'd probably have to do that with the
They'd
boys,
have to give
too.
it all. Yeah, they'd have
I
to
think
give
they are,
enough
actually.
time for all of them.
I think they're going to do that with the boys. So that's a lot of matches.
Plus,
and a
you
lot of
have
Survivor
your
Series
title
matches.
versus title matches, and
I wouldn't be completely against. See, yeah, I don't know. That's a lot of Survivor Series matches, because they're gonna do it with the boys. Just do it with the girls. Raw versus SmackDown. I don't know. It's up in the air. It's 2 weeks away, and we don't even know what the hell is happening.
Yeah.
Crown Jewel hasn't even happened yet, so ugh. Just like roll. Okay, Renee Young is there.
yeah, go figure.
I literally am almost scared for her.
Yeah,
But did you see, like, or did you read
just put her beside Braun the whole time.
Oh my god.
She'll be okay.
Well, I was gonna say just have her just sitting next to her husband, and that's scary enough, especially with the looks he's been giving Seth. No, I was reading a thing that they've basically been like really like keeping her under like wraps. And I'm like, if you need to like give her private security and like do this and do that, she shouldn't even be there. And I get the reasoning for her to be there is because like it kind of does help. But at the same time, if they're that worried, I don't know if it was the correct time to do this. And like, where is she gonna commentate
No,
from?
I would have her like back in the Stamford office. She could do play-by-play from there and just put her picture up.
Oh, like a cardboard
Yeah,
cutout.
just
Hey,
like-
Renee. Michael Cole.
Still
like-
more personality than Michael Cole.
Yeah, I don't know. Poor girl, love her. I mean, I get why she's there, but I'll be interested. I won't watch it. I'll just look at Twitter and see what her role is. I'm sure it's gonna, what time does the thing start tomorrow? Like probably lunchtime or something?
Oh, is it tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow's Friday, right? Wait, what day is it today?
Yeah.
Yeah, is it tomorrow? I think so. Usually it's a Friday.
I don't
right?
know. I don't like that they're doing shows there, so I haven't really been paying attention.
I haven't either. But when this podcast comes out, it will be Friday, so it's probably happening today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's all I gotta say. Nothing else to add in the world of women's wrestling. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Always. I mean, I felt like it was appropriate considering the fact that I crashed on your couch while we watched it.
And I marked out hard for that show.
I'm glad.
And I actually...
It made me happy.
I actually enjoyed a Charlotte Flair match, so...
Yeah, the first one in like
might
a
as
really long time.
Might
that
as
I
well
liked.
capture that for the world to hear. I enjoyed
It's on record now.
a Charlotte
Yeah.
Flair match.
Yeah, first one in a long time that I'm like, hell yeah, girl. Finally show what you can do. I'm just glad that I got to finally make you watch Sasha versus Bayley Brooklyn.
Yeah, I appreciate
like
that.
the match everybody talks about.
Yeah. Finally caught up to 2015, 2014.
Yeah, now next time we're just going to have to go back a little further so you can watch that Fatal 4-Way. And then...
You've never seen Macho Man versus Ricky the Dragon
Yes, I
WrestleMania
have.
3, though, have you?
Yes, I have.
Oh, you have? Okay.
I watched his matches.
Well, I will
like Ricky
find.
Steamboat.
I'll find a classic match that you need to watch.
When I was learning how to wrestle, I watched a lot of Steamboat.
Oh, okay.
And I did tell him that when I met him. I was like, I just want to let you know, when I was learning how to wrestle, I watched your matches, and he was like really flattered. And then he gave me a hug and called me sweetheart. And asked if I could be his Canadian girlfriend or something, and I'm like...
That's why he's on your Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, he suckered up to me a little, you know? Like, watching his matches helped me learn how to wrestle. Same thing with Becky and Sasha matches. And watching Bayley NXT matches, actually, because she breaks it down. Anywho, that's besides the point. Do you want to, like, plug anything?
I've got nothing to plug. I'm working on a podcast right now, but...
Yeah. To be,
that's-
or TBD, to be determined,
Yeah.
to be announced, TBA.
That's still going to be a ways out, so I'd say watch for that, but there's no timeline to watch for it.
The only timeline to watch is the history that you'll be talking about.
Ooh,
Boom!
I like that.
That's a good one. If Mike was here, he'd probably, sorry, not this Mike, but Mike the Ref, he'd want to plug Backbreaker Media. I'm not good with the handles, so I'm not going to plug it that much. Besides, I miss Spencer and Mike the Ref. You could follow me at Kayla Jamies on Instagram and Twitter. I have no wrestling this weekend. I have the weekend off, so I don't have anything to plug in that regard. Just, Mike always says something about a double down pun right now, but I'm not going to say it. So I'll just say you can play my music now, Mike the Ref.